If she does not make it, the house is already in my name. It will be over soon.
The room went quiet at the wrong moment. That is how Nurse Bree would remember it. Not the machines, not the voices, the quiet. The kind that only happens when people stop pretending. Room 7 had been loud since midnight. Kamara had been on her feet for 19 hours. She did not panic. She did not guess. She stayed and she worked and she watched. Lena was 27 years old, 39 weeks, admitted at midnight with a complication that moved faster than anyone had predicted. By 2 in the morning, the body was making decisions the doctors had not made yet.
I need you to stay with me, Lena. Breathe. I am right here and I am not going anywhere.
The numbers dropped in the slow, steady way that means the body is choosing on its own. Kamara watched the screen and felt the room shift from urgent to critical in the space between 2 heartbeats. At 3:47, the heart stopped. Not dramatically, just stopped. The monitor went flat. The room went cold. And 36 minutes of fighting began.
She is coding. Get the crash team now. Move.
Kamara locked both hands over the sternum and started compressions. The crash team arrived in under a minute. Somewhere on the other side of the door, 3 people were waiting for something they had already decided was going to happen. Wade had arrived at 1:15, pressed a kiss to Lena's forehead while the eyes were still open, squeezed the hand once, then stepped out to make calls. The kiss lasted 2 seconds. The calls lasted hours. Beside Wade sat a woman in a cashmere cardigan and gold earrings, the mother-in-law. She had acknowledged the admission with the expression of someone whose dinner reservation had been canceled. Next to Wade stood a woman in a green satin top, introduced to the nursing staff as a cousin visiting from out of town, which was inconsistent with the way Wade's hand drifted to the small of the back when the hallway was empty. Kamara had clocked all 3 of them at 1:30 when she stepped out to give an update. She gave the update. She went back inside. She had not forgotten what she saw. 12 feet away, Bree sat charting. The hallway was quiet. Wade's voice was low, but not low enough. And Bree heard every word that a husband should never have said while a wife was dying on the other side of a wall.
We lost the heartbeat at 3:47. We are working to bring it back. The situation is critical.
Something moved across Wade's face that Bree would think about for weeks. It was not grief. It was something that wore grief's clothes but moved differently underneath. Something that was already doing math.
Thank God. Will she be okay?
What about the baby?
We are doing everything we can for both of them.
Kamara turned away from the hallway and walked back through the door. The practiced neutral dropped the moment the hallway disappeared. Behind that door was a woman worth saving, and on the other side of it were 3 people who did not deserve to decide when the saving stopped. Bree picked the pen back up. She watched. She wrote. She remembered. In a hospital, the people who chart at 2 in the morning see everything that the people in suits think is invisible.
If she does not make it, the house reverts to joint title. I had it redrawn in October.
Finally. About time.
The impatient stare at the delivery room door. The bag strap adjusted. The calculation behind the eyes. 3 people in a hallway waiting for a death that would simplify their plans. They did not know the doctor on the other side of that door had other plans entirely. Bree picked up the pen and began to write in the margin. A note, a time, a detail. The quiet resolve of a witness who has decided that everything said in this hallway tonight will survive the night. At 4:23, the monitor stopped flatlining. A flutter, then a beat, then a rhythm that found itself the way a person finds footing after a fall. Uncertain at first, then steadier, then real. Kamara felt something loosen in the chest that had been clenched for 36 minutes. She stood at the bedside and looked at the monitor. Then she looked at Lena, 27 years old, alive. Then the secondary screen updated. Kamara looked at it for 30 seconds without speaking. 2 heartbeats where there should have been 1. The board had more pieces than anyone had counted.
Does the family know? No. Not yet. She is alive. There is something else I need to speak with all 3 of you about. Follow me, please.
Bree watched through the consultation room window. She could see the faces. She could not hear the words. She did not need to. The faces told her everything.
Lena was not carrying 1 baby. She was carrying 2. Both delivered by emergency cesarean. Both are stable. Both are expected to survive. So is your wife.
Wade's face did something complicated, not relief. The look of a man who had been 3 moves into a game and just discovered the board had more pieces than counted. Odette went very still. The hand went to the gold chain and stayed there. The stillness of a woman whose calculation just doubled in complexity. Giselle looked at Wade. Wade did not look at Giselle. The first crack in the flat stare. Not concern for Lena, the specific recalculation of a woman realizing the timeline just changed.
I want to be completely clear. Your wife is alive. Your children are alive. All 3 need significant care. I will need the family's full support to be available.
Wade walked out first, jaw set, phone out before reaching the door, not toward the room where the wife was lying, toward the elevator. That direction told Bree everything the hallway conversation had already confirmed. Bree stood and walked to the delivery room doorway. She looked at the woman in the bed, the mask, the monitor, 2 empty bassinets beside the window, and thought about the way some things arrange themselves, not cleanly, but into something that holds. The bassinets were empty. They would not stay that way. 2 floors up, 2 small, determined lives were getting stronger by the hour, and no one in the hallway had asked about either of them. Lena woke 41 hours later, knowing none of it. Not the heart-stopping, not the twins, not the hallway. What she knew was that Kamara was sitting beside the bed. Not standing, sitting. Doctors who sit are not delivering catastrophe. They are staying. That was the thing that told Lena it was okay before any words were spoken.
There are some things I need to tell you. I am going to tell you all of it. And I am going to be right here while I do.
The shock arrived in waves. The heart, the twins, the cesarean, the survival. Each fact landing like a wave that has to be absorbed before the next one breaks. Lena held the blanket edge and let them come. The NICU was warm and soft with light. 2 incubators side by side. 2 small forms inside. Breathing. Alive. Impossibly, stubbornly, completely alive. The first time Lena held both of them, one in each arm in the soft NICU light, she did not speak for a long time. She just looked at the faces. Tiny, red, determined. Hers.
They were both in there. The whole time. The whole time. I knew. I had been watching both of them since week 21. Every single appointment.
Lena looked at the 2 small faces and began to assemble a question whose answer she had already half built. Where was the husband? Why was the doctor the one sitting beside the bed? Why was the chair still warm?
Juanita. What happened with Wade?
Kamara was careful. She was honest. She gave Lena what was needed in the order it could be absorbed. Not everything at once, just enough for a woman to decide who she was going to be about it. Lena's face went still. Not the stillness of shock, the stillness of a woman deciding, not whether to be devastated, she already knew she would be, but who she was going to be about it.
I want to talk to a lawyer before I talk to my husband. I can help arrange that.
The lawyer arrived on day 4. Charcoal suit, burgundy tie, brown briefcase, the patient, strategic calm of a man who understood the full picture from one phone call. The legal folder opened on the bed tray. Together they built the case, the title transfer, the relationship, the hallway statement, 2 people working in the quiet recovery room while 2 babies slept beside the window, and justice took shape on paper. Wade arrived on day 5. Flowers from an actual florist, stems wrapped in brown paper the way expensive flowers come. He stood in the doorway, performing tenderness. Lena looked at him and said 2 words.
Sit down, Wade. I know about the house. I know about Giselle. I know what you said in the hallway while I was dying.
Lena, wait. That is not what I was scared. I did not mean any of it.
I did not ask for an explanation. I am telling you what I know and what I have already started.
You cannot do this. Those are my children too.
They are. And I was dying 10 feet away while you talked about property transfers. Remember that part?
Every prepared line answered and dismantled. Every rehearsed apology met with facts. Wade sat in the chair and watched 3 years of careful arrangement collapse under the weight of one nurse who listened and one doctor who stayed. Wade walked out 2 hours later. The flowers stayed, the man did not. Bree watched from the station as the figure passed toward the elevator one final time. The direction had never changed. It had always been away. Lena picked the flowers up from the floor and placed them on the windowsill beside the bassinets. She did not throw them away. She just moved them into the light. A woman who had decided was no longer angry, just clear.
Reese and Haven, my grandmother's middle names, for children who arrived against the odds.
Haven studied the light from the window with the focused, serious attention of someone who had just arrived somewhere and was taking inventory. Lena looked at those open eyes and saw someone who was already paying attention.
It is okay. We have got time.
Kamara stopped by room 7 every day for 12 days. Not always long, sometimes just to check the chart, stand at the window. Once, she sat in the same chair the same way, and the room was quiet in the right way. The afternoon had settled into itself, both twins sleeping, both women sitting in the quiet that comes when 2 people have shared something they will never need to explain to each other.
You stayed. In the hallway, while you were working. You already knew about them. I knew some things. I did not know everything. But I sat down when I told you. Thank you for staying, for sitting, for all of it.
Kamara looked at the 2 of them, small, determined, impossibly here, sleeping in the afternoon with the absolute peace of those who do not yet know what came before them.
They are going to be something. I know. I think they already are.
The IV was gone. The gown was gone. Lena sat upright in a gray shirt and leggings, reading legal documents with the sharp focus of a woman who had been dead and come back and was done being passive about her own life.
The title transfer in October. The relationship with the woman introduced as a cousin. The hallway statement. This is a very strong case, Lena.
File everything. The house. Full custody. I want it done before I leave this hospital.
Consider it done.
Bree stood in the doorway on one of the last days, the face of a nurse who had intervened quietly, who had made certain requests on Lena's behalf that the team honored without asking for full explanations.
I heard what he said in the hallway that night. Every word. If you ever need a witness, I am here.
Lena looked at Bree and felt the specific relief of a woman who just learned she was not alone that night, that someone 12 feet away had been listening and had chosen to remember every word.
Thank you, Bree. You have no idea what that means.
The NICU was warm and the twins were growing stronger. Reese nasal cannula now removed. Haven eyes open and alert. Two fighters getting ready to go home with a mother who had fought harder than both of them combined.
These two are fighters. Strongest pair I have seen all year. They got that from their mama.
The first time Lena held both babies outside the incubators, no wires, no monitors, just two small warm weights in two arms. She looked down and smiled the full, open smile, the one that had been waiting since room 7. She walked through the hospital corridor carrying both car seats, past the nursing station, past room 7, the gold wedding band gone from the left ring finger, the finger bare, the morning light hitting both of them at the same time. Kamara and Bree stood at the station and watched the mother and the twins disappear toward the light of the lobby exit. The doctor who stayed, the nurse who listened, both of them watching the proof walk out the door. Wade sat alone in a half-empty apartment surrounded by boxes. A legal notification on the phone screen. No wedding band, no wife, no children beside the window. The specific quiet of a man who received exactly what he earned. Giselle stood at a doorway with a suitcase, the flat stare now carrying something beneath it that looked like a woman deciding whether to stay or disappear. The timeline she had calculated no longer existed. Odette sat alone in a large, formal room, one hand on the gold chain, the appraising blink directed inward for the first time. The room was large, the quiet was larger. A small, warm apartment with morning light, a couch, two babies, a mother who had arrived somewhere new and was no longer afraid. The boxes were still unpacked, but the light made it feel like home already.
I was dead for 36 minutes. And in those 36 minutes, everything I thought I knew about my life came apart. But not the people. The people who stayed told me everything I needed to know. The ones who stayed are the only ones who ever mattered.
Kamara walked through a hospital corridor on a new shift, past a delivery room door, paused for 1 second to look inside. The pause carried everything. Then she continued, "The work does not stop. The staying does not stop." Bree sat at the nursing station on a new night shift. The pen was steady, the eyes were sharp, a nurse who would never again let a hallway conversation go unrecorded. Some witnesses are made in a single night. Morning light, a couch, two babies slightly older now, faces less red, more defined. Haven still studying the light from the window with the same focused inventory. Some people arrive already paying attention.
The bassinets were not empty. They never were.
Modern bridge. You are watching this right now, and somewhere in your life there is a room that went quiet at the wrong moment. You heard something you were not supposed to hear. You saw something that did not match what the words were saying. The question is not whether you noticed. The question is what you did with what you noticed. The people who stay and the people who watch and the people who write it down, those are the people who change the story. Comment-baked question. Have you ever been in a room where someone stayed for you when everyone else was already leaving? And if you have, did you ever tell that person what their staying meant? 3 takeaways. First, The people who sit down beside the bed are telling you they are not leaving. Believe them. Second, the people who check their phones in the hallway while you are fighting for your life are telling you something too. Believe that as well. Third, sometimes what everyone in the hallway was certain was the end turns out to be the most stubborn and most alive kind of beginning. Call to action. If this story reached something inside you, hit the like so I know you are here. Subscribe so you do not miss next week's story. A father opens a letter his daughter wrote the night she disappeared and never came home. Drop a comment and tell me, who is the person who stayed for you? Who sat down when everyone else walked toward the elevator? Share this with someone who has been that person for you and never heard you say thank you. I read every single comment. I will see you at the next one. A mother, 2 daughters, a rocking chair, morning light, the bassinets beside the window, not empty, never empty, and the sound of breathing that proves all of it was real. Kamara sat alone in the break room with a coffee cup and the specific exhaustion of a doctor who saved a life and then watched the hallway try to undo it. The coffee went cold. She did not notice.
Some rooms go quiet at the wrong moment. The monitors keep running. The people who stay are the only ones who matter.
Diane placed a fresh blanket into an empty incubator, being prepared for a new arrival. The slow, knowing head shake of a woman who has seen this kind of trouble before. She would see it again. She would stand in it every time. Felix stood in a courthouse corridor holding a legal folder. Everything filed before the patient left the hospital. The house, the custody, the hallway statement. Justice on paper moves slowly, but it moves. Wade sat on a bare couch in a half-empty apartment with a legal envelope opened on the table. No wedding band, no wife, no daughters beside the window. The quiet of a man who earned exactly this. Morning light flooded the small apartment. A framed photo on the wall, 2 hospital bassinets with tiny forms visible inside. The photo that marks the beginning. Lena walked through the light carrying both babies, not looking back.
It is okay. We have got time.
A rocking chair, a yellow nursery, morning light through the curtain, 2 babies sleeping with the absolute peace of those who do not yet know what came before them. A mother holding both. The bassinets beside the window, not empty, never empty.
I learned something in that room. The people who sit down are telling you they are not leaving. And the people who check their phones in the hallway are telling you something too. Believe them both.
Kamara rested one hand on Lena's shoulder at the lobby exit. No words needed. The doctor who stayed and the woman who survived. Both of them standing in the bright glass light of a beginning.
Take care of those fighters. And take care of yourself. You sat down. That is how I knew it was gonna be okay. Before any words.
Lena walked through the hospital doors into the morning sunlight, carrying both car seats. The light hit all 3 faces at the same time. The hospital behind, the open sky ahead, the most alive kind of beginning. The rocking chair, the yellow nursery, the morning light, Reese sleeping, Haven studying the window, a mother holding both. The bassinets not empty, the silence not absent, the beginning not over, just beginning. Some rooms go quiet at the wrong moment, but the monitors keep running. And the people who stay, the ones who sit down, who chart at 2 in the morning, who fight for 36 minutes without stopping, those are the only ones who ever mattered. And sometimes what everyone in the hallway was certain was the end turns out to be the most complicated, most stubborn, most alive kind of beginning. The bassinets were not empty. They never were. A mother, 2 daughters, morning light, a nursery that is warm, a ring finger that is bare, a life that is beginning, and the quiet that comes when everything that needs to hold is finally holding. Haven open eyes studying the morning light with the focused, serious attention of someone who has just arrived and is taking inventory. Reese sleeping with tiny fists curled, a mother holding both, the bassinets beside the window, not empty, they never were.